US Vice President J.D. Vance has accused Israel of funding campaigns aimed at derailing negotiations with Iran. Speaking to podcast host Joe Rogan, he also accused some US leadership of being influenced by such efforts.
You have seen this very discreet, extremely well-funded campaign to try to derail the negotiation and try to derail the deal. And, you know, there's this Time article that came out yesterday. A friend sent it to me. It's like worth reading because it lists a bunch of people who have quite literally been paid by a former Trump campaign person who was himself paid by certain elements within the Israeli government. And those people are attacking me viciously for quite literally trying to accomplish the negotiation objective that the president set for the country. So
what is their position? Like, are they attacking you how?
Oh, it's social media posts. It's, you know, they're leaking to reporters. They're attacking me obsessively, saying that we should not be negotiating with Iran. We should just keep the military campaign going indefinitely. And that is their explicit position. And coming after me saying that, you know, people have come after me and say that I'm influenced by Qatar, that I'm influenced by foreign governments, that, you know, I take my marching orders from Tucker Carlson. And there's just so much bullshit out there when what I'm actually trying to do is accomplish what the President of the United States told me to accomplish, which is a settlement of this that accomplishes our objectives. Iran doesn't have a nuclear weapon. We have the free flow of oil and gas. And like, I should be clear, you know, I don't actually mind. I don't mind that the, you know, let's say certain elements of the Israeli government want to criticize the deal or have disagreements about the deal. I don't even mind an effort to try to influence, you know, foreign governments try to influence the United States all the time. You know, Israel does it, other countries do it. It's just sort of the nature of the beast. What bothers me is actually when Americans allow, meaning American leadership, allows that influence to affect their judgment and to affect what they are advocating for. That's what really bothers me. People are always going to try to influence the United States of America, whether they're allies of ours or whether they're enemies of ours. But again, when I open up the pages of Time magazine and I see that there's a literal foreign influence campaign being funded to tank the very deal that I was pursuing, and oh, by the way, many of the people who were receiving that money were actually attacking me in completely dishonest ways, you know, my response to that is, well, go to hell. I'm going to do what I have to do for the American people.
Joining us now from Leiden in the Netherlands is Cyrus Schayegh, who's a professor of international history and politics at the Geneva Graduate Institute. Professor, good to see you again. What do you make of what you heard the US Vice President saying there?
The first thing to say is that Vance, of course, has a proper personal interest in making these statements, which are true, by the way. Second thing is that his pronouncements also show that there are great divisions within the US establishment about how to continue dealing with Iran. There are conservatives, sort of, you know, old-fashioned conservatives who want to be much more aggressive. There is Trump, who sort of moves around. And then there is, you know, Vance and a bunch of other people who actually have an ingrained interest politically, but also, I think, long-term to get to some sort of agreement. Trump, I think, could be brought over, right? So I think this is the first thing that needs to be said. The second thing that needs to be said is that this also, in a broader sort of, you know, historical perspective, shows that the alignment, the maximum alignment between Israeli and US policy that started when Trump became elected in 2025, basically was ultimately also an alignment personally between him and his instincts and Netanyahu and his own instinct. So investigative piece, a very long one that just came out in the Israeli newspaper Haaretz, showed very clearly that the only person other than Netanyahu in the government who was in favor of a regime change operation in Iran was the head of Mossad. Other people like Shlomi Binder, who is the head of military intelligence, were against it. A whole bunch of other people were against. Netanyahu was in favor. Trump ultimately, after like early 2026, was in favor as well. So it was these two people who were really front and center. Now that things have not gone well, we see more and more, other people who start to object. And I think Vance is first and foremost here because he has presidential ambitions going forward.
So what's going on in Trump's mind right now? I know it's impossible to tell, but is he looking for a better deal or simply a way to declare victory and get back to negotiations?
Trump doesn't really have the ability to plan 3 steps ahead. He's not a strategic person. He is a tactician. And for him, what's most important is that right now and today, he will look as good as can be. So I think this is ultimately the reason why he escalated right now. But I also think that this is the reason why he will eventually de-escalate. We don't quite know when, but I don't think it will take that long because his Arab allies in the Gulf will more and more press him to basically stop. So he is here in a bind vis-a-vis Iran because he can hurt Iran, and he does economically and also humanitarianly a lot. But Iran can also, again, close the strait, which is a great lever that Iran developed because of the 40-day war. And it is a great lever because unless any other lever the Iranians have had before vis-a-vis the United States, it is global. It hurts America not only in the region, but globally. So I think bottom line is that Trump is trying to basically avoid and kick down the can and avoid the inevitable. And the inevitable will be a return to the negotiation table and some long term, maybe only next year, maybe even 2 years from now, some sort of deal that will help to basically diffuse this tension. And I think, as I have said before, that Arab countries in the Gulf will be and have been absolutely central to this undertaking.
So what's this latest round of strikes actually been about? Has it changed the balance of power or simply reinforced the stalemate?
It has not challenged the balance of power, which between the US and Iran has, because of the 40-day war, been much more even than it used to be. Earlier, the United States was politically and also militarily much more powerful vis-a-vis Iran. Iran, as noted, used the Hormuz Strait as a new lever, okay? And this, in turn, means that it can basically hold the United States off, although it has huge economic problems sort of doing so. So we will see, again, how long it will take for these two to basically get back to negotiating.
Okay.
But there are signals. Yes, please.
I was just going to say, I need a fairly brief answer from you, please, Professor. How soon before we get to that point where both sides have to accept that neither can impose its preferred outcome on the Strait of Hormuz and they have to get back to talking?
I don't think that in this round it will take a long time. And the reason is that Arab states do not want to continue this. But I also don't think that this is necessarily the last round. I do think that more rounds could come, but I do think that if the parameters of this balance of power that's more even now do not change, eventually, even if it's just next year, we will see some sort of negotiation that will basically take place and maybe even bear fruit.
Good to talk to you again, Professor. Many thanks indeed for being with us.
Thank you.